Morning, everyone. Welcome to our first meeting of 2025, the regular council meeting. I have had the opportunity, I believe, to wish everyone a happy new year over the last couple of days. That includes all of staff, council, and as well as staff. So, but I'll say it again, happy new year, and I look forward to spending lots of time with you in the next 12 months.
Thank you.
Yeah. I will remind everyone, I'm told that sometimes our mics aren't on when we're speaking, so if you could just leave them on when you're speaking and then turn them off, but remind yourself to leave them turned on again. I'll call this meeting to order at 9:30. And we'll do our territorial land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge the township of Allen-McCulloman is located on the Mississauga Anishinaabeg territory and is the traditional territory of the Mississaugan Anishinaabeg. The township of Allen-McCulloman respectfully acknowledges that the Mississaugan Nation are the collective stewards and caretakers of these lands and waters in perpetuity, and that they continue to maintain this responsibility to ensure their health and the integrity for generations to come. I will confirm that all members of council are present, as well as the municipal clerk. And we'll move on to item 3, which is the approval of the agenda. It is recommended the council of the corporation of the township of Allen-McCulloman enact as follows: that the agenda of the regular council meeting held on January 14, 2025 be approved. Did I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councilor Booth, second by Deputy Mayor Stover. Any discussion? All in favor? That motion is carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Through you, Mayor Logal, I will be declaring a pecuniary interest. It'll have to do with 7.2. It has to do with the library board minutes, particularly anything to do with the financial component of it. I will be commenting on the minutes, but nothing to do with the financials. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
You're welcome.
So that will be duly noted. Next, we're going to move on to approval of the minutes, and we have a motion to adopt the council meeting minutes of a special council meeting held on October 1st, 2024, the regular council meeting on December 10th, 2024, and a special council meeting to discuss the 2025 budget that was held on December 16th, 2024. And the motion reads: it is recommended the council of the corporation of the township of Allen-McCulloman act as follows: that the minutes of the council meeting held on the following dates be adopted: October 1st, December 10th, December 16th, and December 17th. Could I get a move in the second? Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover, seconded by Councilor O'Neill. Any discussion? Go ahead, Councilor Ainsworth.
Through you, Mayor, I just wanted to ask about the December 10th minutes. Do we have a delegation from Ganaraska coming? And do we have 15.5 is the Chamber of Commerce Business Achievement Awards that we haven't done yet?
Okay. So let's talk about the first one, which was Ganaraska. There was a delegation there, I believe, for December 10th.
Lower Trent.
Lower Trent, pardon me.
That was Lower Trent, yeah.
Yeah, is that what you were asking?
No, the Ganaraska.
Okay,
There's, excuse me.
thank you. Deputy Mayor Stover, do you know if they're planning on coming or
I don't know if they've been invited. I don't have a meeting till next month. Would you like me to check on that, Madam Clerk?
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, excuse me. Deputy Mayor, you're welcome to check. We can follow up as staff as well. So I'm not seeing that there was a formal resolution inviting Ganaraska, so that is the decision of council, and I would ask for that specific direction that we extend the invitation to Ganaraska, and then we'll be able to follow up in due course.
So, I can't remember historically, have they come?
They were here, through you, Mayor Logal, they were here, I believe, last year. Um,
And was that an invite or?
I think it was an invite.
Well, Council Ranger, you brought it to our attention. Would you like to make a motion that we invite them? Okay, so we got to handle that first. So the motion was that the council corporation of Township of Ballon was called to act as follows to receive the following. So can we go ahead with that? That was moved by Deputy Mayor Stover and seconded by Councilor O'Neill. Can we go ahead and get that forward? Then we'll call that business arising from previous minutes. All in favor? That motion is carried. Business arising from previous minutes. Councilor Ainsworth, you can make your comment again, requesting Ganaraska.
Yeah, through you, Mayor. So I guess it was just to have them come in and give us an update on what was going on and their
Programs and things.
programs and stuff, yes. And I don't know if that time we were going to talk about the levy or not, but I just remember us having maybe both of those conversations.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're gonna move that then?
Yeah.
Councilor Ainsworth?
Yeah.
Can I get a seconder for Councilor Ainsworth request to have Ganaraska come make a presentation? Second by Councilor Booth. Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion's carried. And was another comment you had, Councilor Ainsworth?
It was
The awards.
the awards, the Northumberland Chamber of Commerce Business Achievement Awards. We haven't picked anybody for them yet.
Okay, what would you like to do?
Well, in the past, we picked businesses for that award and attended that award. And I know there was a monetary issue that we give to the Northumberland Chamber of Commerce for that award for that evening. So I would like to continue that.
Okay. I can't remember, but historically, people have put their own in. I believe, and the council doesn't necessarily have to prove that or not. But if you'd like to do that, and if you have someone you'd like to bring to our attention.
Well,
someone's gonna have to fill it in.
Yeah, it did come to council.
Okay.
And we just haven't filled it out.
That's
I think this one had to do with like the I don't want to say youth entrepreneurs, but younger people in business.
I'm not sure. Well, we need to go better than that.
if I may, Mayor Logal, it is the award, and a local farm has been one of the recipients. And I can't remember the name of it right now. I don't have it in front of me.
Well, there's about, if I can comment, there's about 6 or maybe 8 different categories that they award businesses, and it could be young entrepreneur is a qualification. I know you have to go on for 3 years.
Yeah.
There's the best of those services, there's the best industry, there's the best there's about 8 different things. Okay. So what would you like to do? Councilor O'Neill.
So I think if I can through you to Councillor Ainsworth, there were actually 2 letters. So the one that was on the minutes there was related to us supporting the ceremony or their awards night. And we put that over to budget. So we've already moved that one. And the young entrepreneur one, that came through on our minutes in December. And when I double checked, because you and I were going to look at that, it had already passed by the time the minutes came to remind me to do it. we had missed the deadline on that.
Okay.
The award I was looking at is the William Cross and Young Professionals Award. And that's the one. The other one, if I may add to the conversation, is sponsoring a table. And they're waiting for us to give the okay for that. And I have a meeting with them in the morning or Thursday morning, and I can ask them to hold off until the 28th when we have our budget meeting.
I think we should do that.
Okay.
Budget considerations completed. The other comment I think I should make though is, since you brought it up, we should be getting the request for David Thomas awards for coming up for what's normally held in February and March.
That's the awards night.
But we should be, if you're suggesting we have some things or suggest that we council or members of council submit an application on someone's behalf, then we can go ahead and do that as well.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Councilor.
Thank you, Mayor Logo, through you. The deadline I see here is February 18th for nominations. And there is a whole group of them here.
Okay. Can you provide that to council
Yes, I can.
so they all know what nominations are?
Mhm.
You want to carry any further than this, Mike, or are you happy with the discussion?
No, that's fine.
Everybody else is fine with the discussion, there's no motion?
So we will bring it back to council?
It'll
From the
come back
budget?
in budget.
So I can make a motion that we bring it back to council and budget?
It's already there.
It's already there.
It's already
already
come
there?
back, yeah.
Okay. $89.07. So get that over to you.
Okay, we're gonna move on. Well, there was a motion on the floor. And we don't. Thank you. Committee reports, motion to receive committee reports is recommended the council of the corporation of the township of Allen Calderman act as follows. That agenda item 7.2 to 7.4 on the January 14, 2025 regular council meeting agenda be received for information. And there are the Allen Calderman Library Board minutes from May 1st, June 10th, June 24th, September 9th, and October 21st, 2024. So can I get a mover and a seconder to put those on the for discussion? Moved by Councillor Ainsworth, seconded by Councillor Booth. Councillor Ainsworth, you have the first opportunity to speak.
Yes, to you, Mayor. Excuse me. So I noticed when I was reading through all the minutes that and it was actually good to find to get them. But and they're not all there, but a couple things come out of my mind, and one of them is the MOU that they talked about in various minutes through that with council and the township. And I think the last one was back in June when our Madam Clerk asked for an update on that. We still haven't got it. And I think that was important, even going back to last year's budget, that we were going to put together an MOU with the library so we could work as partners in that, with that organization and the board. And that hasn't happened yet. I wonder if we can get an update from them on that. And what we have to do to get that moving forward, especially with this budget coming up also for this year.
Madam Clerk, you want to hear that?
With it being on the minutes for now, you could ask Board Rep, Councillor Booth, to provide an update on the status of the MOU at this point in time. From a staff perspective, we have been reaching out to the library, trying to move things forward, but I can't speak to what is happening at the library board. So that would be a
Booth, you have a
report.
comment?
Through your worship, we were supposed to have a meeting last night, but it was canceled due to illness, so there's one tonight. And I believe the MOU is on I don't know if it's on tonight's agenda, but it is something that they're looking at completing because they had the resignation of not the CEO, the chairman and everything else, and then they don't have meetings in December. So I know they are working on it. There is a committee on it, so I don't know where they are. I'll have more information after tonight, be able to tell you.
Thank you, Councillor Booth. Anybody else have any comment? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
The only comment that I have arrived to is the lack of information that is in the minutes. I know back in June, minutes were, one set was provided. It mentioned minutes, but you couldn't access the minutes on the agenda. That seems to be the common thread through what we have here. But I do see in October that we can actually access the minutes that they're talking about. The other issue is they're not coming out of closed properly, and they're not documenting what they are properly documentation of the closed sessions, and the lack of transparency, because we shouldn't be getting minutes like this and still having issues with them. So I would suggest not accepting the minutes until they're sent back and properly put forward to the council so we can understand what all they're doing. There's also minutes that haven't been listed here. And so it's just my main concern is a lack of transparency. Thank you.
I think, I do look through the what you mentioned. I couldn't see what they were doing after the door closed, and they were very seldom that it's very. The details of them normally don't come out of the close, but they do at least address them and say that they've done it. The other thing that I noticed too is, are they, when they do go into closed, are they being specific enough to say why they're going into closed? Are they referring to 293 section 4? And I think, because I think that's important. Go ahead, not CEO.
That's the other side.
You can keep that. So through you, Mr. Mayor, the library boards are governed by the Public Libraries Act, which has its own specific criteria for going into open and closed meetings. So they don't actually have the section 239 of the Municipal Act because they have a separate governing piece. So there's a separate governing piece for that.
Okay.
It's very similar to Municipal Act, but it's
so
not.
what you're saying, if I understand you correctly, instead of very similar, but instead of calling 239 ABC, they use another number as it refers to. Go ahead.
Through your Mayor Local, following in on that, I did notice a lack of clarity again with the closed. Instead of using an actual number, they're using a number sign. So I'm not sure if they're aware of how the process is. The other thing for the meeting yesterday, I believe that as with the Municipal Act, that the Public Library Act would also take into account public notice of meetings. And yesterday's meeting agenda didn't appear until the afternoon, and the meeting was last night. And I understand now that the meeting was canceled. So I don't know if that was noted on the website or not. It's just a lack of transparency, and that's all I'd like to say on that. Thank you.
Councilor Booth, do you have any comments on that?
No, I would say if you want, then address it with the chairman of the board, right? They run the meeting and that, and I'm sure if they're not doing it correctly, then inform them, right?
Makes sense.
You want to make a motion then?
I would make a motion that
We have a
The-
motion.
We have a motion on the floor. We gotta finish that one first. And, yeah. So it was moved by Councillor Ainsworth and seconded by Councillor Booth that we receive the minutes for information. All in favor?
I wouldn't, I would say that we don't receive them, that we send them back for correction.
All in favor as mentioned?
As mentioned, what?
As
Receiving this information?
yes.
I would suggest not receiving them for information. I would,
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you, Councillor. We've already taken the vote, so that has been decided.
okay, thank you.
Now, would you like to make another motion?
I'd like to make a motion that the minutes, come back to council, corrected with the information that is lacking.
Okay, and would you? According to our CAO, we are not the approving body. Clerk. That's good. You got the C part, right? Yeah, good. Label it. According to our clerk, we are not the body that approves those minutes. So we cannot make that recommendation. And I accept that. But she is saying that the clerk is saying that we can inform them that they should take a better look at their library regulations. I'm not sure what it's called. So Public Libraries Act to make sure that they are following. So if you want to make a motion that we instruct staff to let them do that, then that would be appropriate.
I could make that motion as well. In that conversation, could they be asked to send the rest of their minutes as well?
We don't have any.
Okay, thank you. I'll make that motion.
Motion is that we help staff to inform board, the library board, that they should be taking more care in meeting the library board legislation for open and closed meetings.
Thank you.
Can I get a seconder for that? Seconded by Councilor Ainsworth. Any further discussion? Go ahead.
I'm just looking at it, and when they do go into a closed meeting, they do specify which of the criteria they're using. So in the minutes.
Who they are. Go ahead.
That isn't the case in all of them. So the motion would look after them, making sure they're following the Public Library Act as far as taking proper minutes. Thank you.
All in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you, Madam Clerk, for preparing or getting the letter ready for us. Next, we have Lower Trent Conservation Authority minutes of November 14th, 2024. Can I get a mover and a second and put it on the table? Moved by Councillor Ainsworth, second by Councillor O'Neill. Councillor Ainsworth, you have the floor.
Through you, Mayor, not much though, really. Just they passed the new schedule. These were passed at that meeting. They didn't go up much, a few dollars here and there, but that was done and the budget was done.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions or comments? I have one, Mike. I'm not sure if that's part of the regular meeting or where you do do an investigation, it's a fairly long investigation.
Mhm.
And is that requested by the board or is that requested by the individual? And is that something that our residents should be doing as well? Before they make a application?
Are we talking the fee schedule?
No, I was under the impression that was for whether they, determine whether they get, there was a culvert, not a culvert, but maybe it wasn't culvert, no, it wasn't culvert, I can't think of the word, but a dam or something like that, preventing the water from going over top of the different property.
Yeah,
And is that typical that because normally, my thought is that if an application is made in our township, they would make the application first and then allow the Lower Trent to make comments. And it sounds to me like they were going the opposite way around in this particular application. Is that right?
yeah, I know through you, Mayor. So, so the applicant does come in and apply
Yes,
and then
to the Lower Trent.
to Lower Trent.
Yes.
And then Lower Trent will go out and evaluate on the field, and then all that information that comes back is from that. So then they would either pass it or have a hearing and make recommendations.
So, but how does that affect the application for consent?
Well, they would make recommendations, or they would ask, much like we do with our planning, they would make
Yeah.
recommendations, or they would ask the board to review that one.
And
Yeah.
do they do that before the person puts in an application to the planning department?
No,
Okay,
no,
because, and the reason I bring it up is because I know, or I think of it, we've had some times when the people who made an application and paid the $3,000 or whatever it was, and then had Lower Trent come back and say, we can't build it.
yeah.
Mhm.
So that would prevent that from happening again, would it not?
Their process is a little different than ours. So they literally go through their whole process, they go through the fees, and it's either yes or no.
Well, you don't see there's any advantage for us to.
No, especially not for the residents, because they lose their money whether they get the permit or they don't.
Okay, Deputy Mayor?
Following along through your Mayor Logal, this was a hearing and I think it was a little bit different. And I'm not sure if Ganaraska would do this as well, because I was interested when I read this, that they were asking for to construct a single family dwelling on a floodplain. And so I don't know if that would be the criteria for having a special hearing, but it was quite interesting reading it, how it came to be and the regulations and the rules that were put into place.
Through you, Mayor. Also, if it's the permit that I think you're talking about out in Trent Hills. So the province changed the floodplain mapping. But that's why that one came through. So there's actually a cement wall that comes down along the river. And there's houses on the west side of the wall. So literally, if it flooded over, it would flood all those houses that are there. I don't think it's ever happened, but it's because they changed the flood mapping. They're saying that it could.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, so that house, just so everybody understands, so there's multiple houses along the street. That house is, it's like a 4-season trailer, 16 or 18 by 70 feet long, had to be 5 feet in the air.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you decide.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Any further questions or comments on this report? Okay, it's been moved by Councilor Ainsworth, second by Councilor O'Neill. All in favor? Motion's carried. The next one we have is I guess that's actually part of the two. The next one we have is the Lower Trent Conservation Authority Hearing Board Minutes of November 20th, 2024. Can I get a move in the second and put this on the
I think we already talked about it.
Oh, okay. Does anybody want to talk about, this one? Talk about it, that's okay. We'll move on. Next, we have the fire department reports from the OFM Health and Safety Grant Funding. And this is an application, or pardon me, report number CAO 2025-03 for the OFM Health and Safety Grant Funding for this meeting today on January 14, 2025. So can I get our fire chief / CAO to make a comment on this?
Sure. Thank you through your mayor to council. This is really just a good news information report. The province came out through the OFM for health and safety grant that we applied for. And we were eligible up to $10,000 per fire station. This was to look after things like spare bunker gear, extractors, which is industrial washing machines for carcinogens, etc., and also for to pay for some of our upgrades for the bunker gear rooms that we did in station 1 and 2. So money's not used from purchase of extractors can pay for that or reimburse us for it. So that's really all.
Thank you, Chief. I'll read resolution, and then if we have any further questions, we'll go ahead and do it. The council received report CAO 2025-03 OFM Health and Safety Grant Funding for information. Can I get a mover and a second? Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover, seconded by Councillor Booth. Deputy Mayor, anything to comment?
No, I concur with our Chief Administrative Officer / Fire Chief that this is a really good story, and it's nice to get the grant funding to put it in the appropriate places. So thank you for applying for that.
Anybody else have any comments? Go ahead, Councillor O'Neill.
Just that I stopped in and saw the new bunker gear room at Station 2, and it is a definite improvement from what we had before. I didn't have a question before, but now you said what was 10,000 per station, and yet we got 25,000. So did we get 5? What was the last 5 then?
So we got 25,000 in total. The overall expectation was that we would apply for up to 10,000 per station.
Oh, okay.
Our application was actually closer to 60. The maximum payable to any fire department was 30.
Oh, okay, good.
Further questions? All in favor? Motion is carried. Next, we're going to go on to Public Works Department report, and it is the winter maintenance operations for new subdivisions. CAO 2025-04, winter maintenance operations for new subdivisions. Pretty straightforward, but Dave, I'll give you the opportunity to say anything if you'd like, and then we'll pick a vote.
Thank you, Mayor, and through you to council. This report comes to you as part of the appropriate process to have council approve these contracts to work with the new subdivisions. In the past, as an example, Glens of Antrim subdivision was using a private contractor. The private contractor approached the township because insurance rates are getting to the point where it's becoming very difficult for them to be in business. And that is a very common conversation right across the province with respect to snow and salt operations in the winter. In conversation with our insurance, it falls well within the purview of the township's operations. In conversation with our planner, this falls within the realm of our agreements with the new subdivisions that are coming into the township. So it makes sense for us to do it, and it is it's a great way for us to recoup some of the costs for the township to operate winter maintenance. So it's before you.
Thank you, Dave. I'll read the resolution and then we'll. It is recommended the council of the corporation of the town of Valley Cullinan act as follows. That council receive report CAO 2024-03 winter maintenance operations for new subdivisions, contract for information, and that bylaws be brought forward to for consideration to authorize the mayor and clerk to enter into an agreement for winter maintenance operations for Glens of Antrim and Grafton Heights subdivision. We were in a second. Moved by Councillor Booth. Second by Councillor Ainsworth. Councillor Booth, go ahead. Any introductions?
No.
Thank you. Councillor Ainsworth, go ahead.
To you, Mayor. No, I think this is a great idea. We just bought that new truck is literally what this is for. And great to see this coming into the township.
Thank you. And I'll make go ahead, Councillor Liam.
A question just about, do we have an anticipated date for the uploading from the developer to the township for the Glens of Antrim, the road there?
Through your Mayor Lobo, Councillor O'Neill, it has been my understanding almost 25, if not over 25 years. I know that Tracy has been working on that file in 2024. I don't have a specific answer for you, but I would assume that we're a lot closer than we were in prior years.
If I can make a comment, I know that one of the things we're holding up, and it was held up for quite a while, was the sidewalk that was put in, and I think that went in November. Right? So that's one, but I believe there are some other things that have to be finished yet before we can sign off. And I believe that the planner has that right under control. All in favor? That motion is carried. Next, we have the Holloman Community Arena Complex Needs Assessment Recommendation. And it's PR 2025-01, Holloman Community Arena Complex Needs Assessment Recommendation for January 14th, 2025. And I believe that we have Jeremy here to take us through this.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Last fall, staff sent out the RFP document as approved. It closed December 13th. Staff evaluated 4 submissions to the RFP using the criteria outlined in the document and are recommending moving forward with Sierra Planning and Management for the project, scheduled to be completed March 31st.
Thank you. And it looks like a good, pretty good response. At least I felt. Okay, I'll read the resolution. It is recommended the council of the corporation of township of Alma Cullinan enact as follows. The council received report CAO 2024-03 winter meeting. Thanks a lot. It is recommended the council of the corporation of the township of Alma Cullinan enact as follows. The council received report PR 2025-01 Holloman Community Arena Complex Needs Assessment Recommendation for Information, and that council award RFP 03-2024 needs assessment for existing Holloman Memorial Arena for $72,000 plus HST, and that $72,000 plus HST be allocated from the Parks and Recreation Reserve to fund RFP 03-2024, and that a bylaw be brought forward for consideration to authorize the mayor and the clerk to enter an agreement with Sierra Planning and Management for RFP 03-2024. Did I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Ainsworth, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stover. Pardon me, Councillor Ainsworth, you have the floor. If you want to ask any questions or start the debate.
Through you, Mayor. No, I think it's a great idea and I'm glad to see this coming through. It's been a little while getting it to here. And looking forward to moving on from this. And I'm actually happy that the same people are doing the study that's done it before. So they'll have a lot of insight from past and hopefully things will go smooth.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Through you, Mayor Logal, to Jeremy. Could you tell me the difference in the two prices here? The one from Sierra that is noted, maybe I've missed it, is $72,005. And then I've just noticed here the proposed price of $81,365.65. I'm just wondering what the difference is between the two.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the difference is just one of those numbers includes tax levels, not.
Oh, okay. Mayor Logal, if I may as well.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. To Jeremy, I agree with this whole report. I like the fact that Sierra is able to continue on and also mention the same comments that Councillor Ainsworth made, and that they did the one back in 2018. So they're well aware of what they're dealing with, and I look forward to the next steps. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor, Councilor O'Neill.
I just have some questions about the scope of work involved in this. So when this came before us as the proposed RFP, it was that this would be a new replacement building, and we were not considering looking at any refurbishment or continuing on with the existing building. Anyway, I just want to confirm what the scope of work is there, and also why Sierra was the most expensive. So what were the reasons that, or the factors, the outstanding reasons that you thought this was a much better proposal than the less expensive proposals?
Mr. Jeremy, go ahead and if you can respond, please.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, so the project scope, as outlined in the RFP document, and I won't read it back to you, but it certainly does speak to the opportunity of new facilities as well as potential uses for existing facilities. The township is to be provided with a recreational and leisure need assessment that encompasses all potential offerings and current deficiencies of our portfolio. So the scope of work in this RFP outlines all of that, as well as the potential for new facilities and repurposing of all existing facilities at that complex as a whole. Doesn't just speak to any one facility, arena, or anything like that. The evaluation criteria as outlined in the document weighed a number of different things, price being one of them. Yes, noted Sierra was the most expensive submission, but scored the highest score out of a total score of 100 across all of the different categories, which includes understanding project objectives, experience and qualifications, unique innovative approaches, schedule, timetable, etc. Combining all those categories for all four components, Sierra came out on top, and thus they're the recommended top.
Go ahead, Councilor O'Neill.
And my second is related around the timelines involved in this. So if we're paying 72,000 and wanting 2 months of work, that does seem like quite a lot to pay for 2 months. And from their perspective, how do they have the public meetings, the council meetings, and the final report? Are we going to be, I mean, we don't have any money in the budget to move forward with it. So I'm not sure that having the timeline of 2 months is necessary or achievable at this point. I'm just, where are we on the timelines?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, there were 4 companies who submitted all guaranteed the timeline of finishing by March 31st. So I would make the assumption that they all felt it was achievable and realistic. Certainly Sierra is very clear in their submission that, and I'll quote, that they have the resources and ability to deliver the desired deliverables on budget and within the timeline outlined in their submission.
Any further questions?
Just what kind of public meetings and public input is involved then in that timeline?
Give me 1 second, Mayor, so I don't misquote myself. Through you, Mr. Mayor, the submission does include internal stakeholder interviews, public online survey, user group online survey, as well as public stakeholder in-person meetings, including council, happening throughout the process, scheduled in February.
Thank you. Any further questions?
Well, I'm just looking at our clerk then to schedule the meetings in February and wondering whether she thinks it's achievable.
I didn't, yeah. Remember the schedule, right? Go ahead. You wanna comment on that?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, we have the ability to schedule special meetings as and when needed. So we'll be working with Mr. Giles as well as the consultant to see what the scheduling requirements is, and we will be scheduling special meetings as and when needed and required to meet the objectives of this project.
They, like, if I'm wrong, they can still go to members of council like they would any other person from the public to ask questions, or that's what they're good gathering into. I'm sorry, they're going to go to different organizations, people, members of council, et cetera, staff. And is there any reason that they would actually meet with all of council, or are they going to because they're gathering information, correct? And I don't have any problem if they want to meet with council, but you can just as easy do it by themselves. Because we're not making any decisions, we're just giving them information, correct?
Correct.
Any further comments? I'll read the resolution.
Excuse me, Mayor Local, could I have a recorded vote, please?
Sure. It is recommended the council of the corporation of the township of Allen-Coldovan act as follows. The council receive report PR 2025-01 Haldeman Community Arena Complex Needs Assessment Recommendation for Information, and the council award RFP 032024 Needs Assessment for existing Haldeman Memorial Arena for $72,000 plus HST, that the 72 plus HST be allocated from the Parks and Recreation Reserves to fund RFP 032024, and that a bylaw be brought forward for consideration to authorize the mayor and clerk to enter into an agreement with Sierra Planning and Management for RFP 032024. So that was moved by Councillor Ainsworth and seconded by Deputy Mayor Stover. All in favor?
I've asked for a recorded vote.
Okay, so through you, Mr. Mayor, we've had a request for a recorded vote by Deputy Mayor Stover. So in accordance with our procedure bylaw 13.7, I will call your names alphabetically, starting with Deputy Mayor Stover, who requested it, and alphabetically thereafter on the motion that Mayor Logal just read. And please answer yay or nay as to how you'd like to vote for the motion. Deputy Mayor Stover.
Yay.
Councillor Ainsworth.
Yay.
Councillor Booth.
Yay.
Councillor O'Neill.
Yay.
Mayor Logal.
Yay.
The motion is carried.
Thank you. Next, we're going to move on to 11.2, which is a grant match funding platform. Our 2025-02 grant match funding platform, 14th of January 2025. Who's going to lead us through that? CAO? Oh, Jeremy, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Grant Match is a company that is the most widely used grant funding company by municipalities in Canada. This is a company that would, if entering into an agreement with, would allow the township to use their services to try and research and source potential grant opportunities to apply for on our behalf. Grant application process is extremely time consuming for staff. Very labor intensive. Entering into an agreement with Grant Match would virtually set out somebody who has full-time eyes looking for opportunities that could be applicable to us, and then writing those applications on our behalf and submitting them. If entering into an agreement with them, it does not prevent staff from finding and applying for grants on our own without them. The financial impact of an agreement with Grant Match, they're paid on a commission basis only on successful grant applications once receiving the funding. So the recommendation would be to enter into a 2-year agreement with Grant Match to do that.
Okay, thank you. I do have a couple of questions or comments. First of all, are you tied in to paying them, or is that only after we accept and the funding is provided? We can back out of it. That's what I'm saying.
Correct.
Okay. And my second question is, if they're charging 10%, just picking that figure, which I believe is correct, can that be part of the expense, put in as an expense for that project?
The-
So what I'm
the-
saying is, you understand what I mean?
It depends on the grant itself. Some grants won't allow that, and some grants do allow that. It would fall under an administration fee.
Okay.
And depending on the grant application itself, some of them permit it, some do not.
Thank
So
you.
it'd be a case by case.
I'll read the resolution, I guess, and then we'll get it on the floor. Yep, go ahead.
Just a question through your worship. So Jeremy, would this just be for government grants then? It's not going to, if there was grants from, say, Enbridge or other companies, or that they wouldn't get involved, or would they get involved?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, it is just for government grants.
Okay, so if it was Enbridge or any specific ones, then we would do that, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Thank you, Councilor Booth. I'll read the resolution. It is recommended the council of the corporation of the township of Allen-McCalderman to act as follows. The council received report PR 2025 grant match funding platform for information, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute an agreement between the township of Allen-McCalderman and Grant Match Corporation for a period of 2 years. Can I get moved in a second? Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover, seconded by Councilor Booth. Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
Through you, Mayor Logo, to Jeremy. We're signed in for 2 years, so the exit, is there a cost for exiting out of the agreement?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, you mean like before the end of the 2 years?
Yes.
It's 30-day notice.
Oh, just, and so no money involved. And just another question, if I may, through you, Mayor Logo, to Jeremy. Is this will be for all departments?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, it would be available for all departments to use, yes.
If I could squeak in one more, I'm just wondering what sort of grants could we realize through this? I know the obvious ones, but I'm not sure what other grants are available for. I mean, we did talk bridges, roads, and that sort of thing. Is there anything else that would encompass that, as well as the recreational facilities?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm not sure I actually have the knowledge to answer that accurately myself. This is the business that they're in, so I think we would realize a whole new flurry of opportunities come forward from this company.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Lobo.
Councilor Booth? Any questions or comments? Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Oh, go ahead, Councilor O'Neill.
What are the requirements around procurement for, because this is an unusual payment schedule, but do we have, what are the rules within our procurement bylaw here?
That's a good question. We may have to defer that to get the answer, I think. Unless somebody wants to comment on that. Pardon me? Yeah, Dave or Aaron, do you have a comment on that? You can't update us? Dave, do you have any idea?
The only thing that I can comment through you, Mayor, is with respect to government grants opportunity. It's not really the same as going out for an RFP or a tender.
That's right.
We are given, so we see emails probably about once a week, a couple times a month anyway, providing us with grant opportunities that the federal or provincial government is offering. And so we kind of scan those to see if we have anything that there might be an opportunity for the township. My understanding with respect to the procurement bylaw is that even though we would potentially get some grant funding, if we are having to procure anything or tender anything with respect to services or equipment, then we would still be required to follow the procurement bylaw.
You have a follow-up, Councilor O'Neill?
Just a clarification on that. So Grant Match is one of the companies available, but presumably there are other businesses that would be interested potentially in this. So I would think we would need to make sure that we haven't taken away the opportunity for other businesses in terms of our duty to make that available.
Jeremy, can you want to comment on that? Were there other companies considered? Or did they approach us?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, they approached us. No other companies were considered. I do believe that similar to how entering into this agreement doesn't prohibit staff from applying independently and without Grant Match's assistance. I believe the same could be true of we would still have the opportunity and right to use any other company that may be available to us at that time. We would only be committed to paying a commission on grants where we utilize Grant Match themselves.
Thank you. Did we, if I can follow up on that, did we vet this company? With discussions about what anybody else is using them?
I have spoken to 3 other municipalities in Ontario who currently do use them. They are the most widely used company for this kind of service by municipalities in Canada.
Thank you. Anybody else have any further questions? Last one, Councilor O'Neill.
It's sort of on a little bit of a tangent, but I noticed when they had the grant available for that we applied for about replacing the ice, that at the same spot there was a provincial representative for this area that said they would be happy to meet with staff and or councils about how to have your municipality grant ready. Have you been in contact with that person, and what's their view on this type of thing?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, no, I have not been in contact with that individual.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to read the resolution. It is recommended the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Allen-McCullough act as follows. The Council received report PR 2025 Grant Match Funding Platform for information, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute an agreement between the Township of Allen-McCullough and Grant Match Corporation for a period of 2 years. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover, seconded by Councilor Booth. Deputy Mayor, any comments?
No, I take the information that Jeremy has put forward and understand why he has picked this company, and I'm ready to vote.
Thank you, Councilor Booth. I've got one final comment. We haven't had too much luck in the past making applications for grants, and it's because we don't have staff available to do it or the expertise to do it.
That's exactly
Some
it.
municipalities are hire people to do this full time. I know the county has at least one person, and it's a big job. So I'm happy and pleased to see that we're proceeding in this direction. Councillor Ainsworth, final comment?
To you, Mayor, couple quick ones. It would be nice to see, maybe Jeremy could reach out to some of these people that Councillor O'Neill has talked about. There might be some different options there, maybe even price wise. And more of a fun suggestion is our Hockey Night in Canada grant. If we could take on something like that as a community.
Craft hockey.
Yeah. Is that possible? We probably can get some volunteers.
Councillor Booth?
I believe that's not exactly a grant. We tried that, the arena tried it last time, probably 10 years ago or something, I remember. It's a voting thing. So it's not, you can apply for it, which I think staff can, but, and you can correct me, Jeremy, if I'm wrong, but I believe it gets voted on by the public and stuff like that. So it's not really somebody saying yes or no. As long as you meet the criteria, I believe it's however many votes you can get or whatever, but I could be wrong.
Different application.
Jeremy, you have a comment?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, craft hockey, but I think is the opportunity you're talking about.
Yes.
I do have a meeting actually on Thursday with some representatives from Grafton Minor Hockey to talk about it in greater detail. I have
Perfect.
the Craft Hockeyville applications before. Currently our arena is not in their database. It is like Councillor Booth said, it's a community rally vote getting type of opportunity. All of that to say it is being considered. I think it needs to be led more by minor hockey instead of the township, certainly as a partnership type thing, but those wheels are in motion and there's already a meeting set for Thursday.
Awesome. Good to hear. Thank you.
Okay, it was moved by Deputy Mayor Stover and seconded by Councillor Booth. All in favor? Motion is carried. Next, we have Treasury Department reports. No, we don't, because there is none. Administrative reports. Bradley Hollow Road Allowance. And that is CLK 202502 Bradley Hollow Road Allowance for today, for 14th of January 2025. Emily, you can take us through this? Go ahead, please.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, this is just a finalization of a ongoing development agreement that we've had in place. So it is, we've received all of the final documentation. The engineer, our township engineer has signed off that the works has been completed to spec. So this is, again, just the finalization piece needed in order to move forward and assume the Bradley Hollow Road as part of that development agreement into the township's road system and for us to begin treating it as one of our own.
Thank you. I'll read the resolution. It is recommended the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Elmwood Holdeman enact as follows. The council received report CLK 202502 Bradley Hollow Road Allowance for information, and that a bylaw be brought forward for consideration to open a portion of Bradley Hollow Road Allowance between lots 16 and 17, concession 6, formerly in the Township of Holdeman. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Ainsworth, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stover. Councillor Ainsworth, any questions, comments?
Not at this time, Mayor.
Councillor Stover?
No comments,
Or
thanks.
Deputy Mayor, sorry. I have one question. I know that the applicant was hoping to change the name of the road to something else. It looks like we're going to continue to call it Bradley Hollow Road. And I believe there's a north, pardon me, the south. Will we call this one north? Or is it all, we're going to take off the side of the other one? Or is that be considered? Please go ahead. Sure.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, so we did have conversations at the Public Works, with the Public Works team in regards to the discussion, or sorry, the request to change the name. However, the name that was put forward was too similar to names that we already currently have in the township, so it would have just led to confusion. Also, with the amount of administrative work in order to update all of the systems to change a road name throughout would have been it would have been a lot of work to go through and do it. for something that would have potentially created confusion going forward based on similarity of existing names. So when we looked at that from a fire service call or emergency response call and confusion it could present there, the staff agreed at a staff level that this would be just kept as the Bradley Hollow Road in its current name.
Thank you. Anybody else have any further questions or comments? All in favor? That's carried. Next, we have a 13.2, which council training update, CLK 2025-03. Council training update for the 14th of January, 2025. And I believe, Emily, you're going to take us through your report.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, again, just a quick update. Council did request staff to reach out to find a third party to come in to provide some training. So staff have been working on that. We've reached out to 5 specialized, highly qualified firms that deal with this sort of training request. We are currently still waiting on some proposals and some quotes. So as they come in, I will bring them forward to council for consideration.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'll read the resolution, and if there's any debate, then we can move forward. It is recommended the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Elmwood Haldeman enact as follows. The council receive report CLK 2025-03 council training update for information. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councilor Ainsworth. Seconder. Seconded by Councilor Booth. Councilor Ainsworth, you have the floor.
Nothing at this time there.
Thank you. Councilor Booth, anything? Anybody else have any questions or comments? All in favor? Motion's carried. Next, we're going to move on to communications that we received over the past month. And it is recommended the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Elmwood Haldeman act as follows, that the agenda items 14.2 to 14.6 on the January 14th, 2025 regular council meeting agenda be received for information. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councilor Ainsworth, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stover. All in favor? Motion's carried. Nobody's requesting to pull any of those? Oh, Councilor Ainsworth, you have one you'd like to?
Sorry, I thought we were doing that, the ones up there. So I had here, 5 from, Cobalt, the improvement to the catch and release. I think that definitely makes sense for tax dollars for the province. The integrity officer changes code of conduct number 8. I think that's important too as well. Number 11.
Can you, okay, I'm going by these numbers. You're using different numbers. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. Yeah. What we've already done. We want a motion to support. Is that what you're requesting?
Yes.
14.2.
So you've mentioned 3.
Yes, so the number 11 on the list was says Stormont. It's the road safety program improvement.
Yep.
And that's coming through with good roads. So there'll probably be a good conversation about that, or even there'll probably be like or
Delegation.
Yeah, for
Presentation.
on that presentation. So I'm going to good road, so I will definitely take it over that. Yeah, because it comes with that 1% fault. No fault on the township, so literally we're in a bad position as soon as anything happens, and it really needs to be looked at for municipalities. I think that's
14.3.
it. For me, thank you.
So we've had, you want to support 05, 08, 11? Correct?
And 1.
Oh, and 1. Okay.
Okay. 14.2, 14.3.
We'll have a mover that to we want to support 01, 02, pardon me, 01, 05, 08, and 11. And that's been moved by Councillor Ainsworth. I get a seconder,
I'll second.
second by Deputy Mayor Stover. Any discussion? Go ahead, Councillor O'Neill.
I believe we've already supported some of these.
My understanding of it is, yes, we have supported some of these, but all we're doing is, what do we do? Send it back to them, and telling them we're supporting it? Go ahead.
So through you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes. So when we respond back to these municipalities that have sent forward their requests for support, we respond directly to that in municipality saying that we support you, supporting. Yeah, we support you. So it's a direct correspondence back.
Thank you. That answers your question?
Um,
Go ahead, Councillor O'Neill.
with the road safety one, because that one is particularly, I think, significant, as Councillor Ainsworth correctly identified. So when we supported it last time, we sent it to the 5 or 6 that were on there, but we didn't send it to our member of provincial parliament or the Minister of Transportation.
Go ahead. Madam Clerk.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I can't comment on that at this present moment in time. I don't have it in front of me to see who it's gone to.
Councillor O'Neill.
So in that case, especially on the road safety one, I would like to see our member of parliament and the Minister of Transportation included.
Councillor Ainsworth, you made the motion. Are you willing to? Are you ready to consider that in your motion?
Absolutely.
So we'll change it so that not only goes back to people that submitted them or properties that submitted them, but also to the MPP for the local area, which is Minister Pacini, and as well to the Minister of Transportation, or I guess the Ministry of Transportation. And maybe for number 8, it should be going also to Minister Glenn. Oh, it came from the, okay. Yes, go ahead.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, as a matter of procedure, if we can get a formal motion for an amendment to add to the resolution or the motion on the floor that number 11 being sent to the local MPP, and then we'll handle it through the formal amendment process because it was moved and seconded by separate councillors. So just get a motion to amend.
Okay. Mike, can you make a motion to amend? Oh, Mayor Gabbard, can you make
Okay.
a motion to amend?
Make a motion to amend that for item 11 with regard to road safety, that we also include our letter of support to our local MPP, the Ministry of Transportation. Do we want the Premier in there just for good measure?
Councillor Woodward?
To you, Mayor, I'd like to add number 1 to that. So that's the one from the OR, so that's the redistribution of provincial land taxes and DSTs to municipality infrastructure.
I would good with that.
I have a motion on the floor to amend. And it was moved by Councillor O'Neill. I need a second for that. And second by Councillor Ainsworth. All in favor? That's carried. And then we'll go back to the original motion, which was moved by Councillor Ainsworth and Deputy Mayor Stover. All in favor? That's carried. Next, we're going on to bylaws.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I'd like to bring forward a different motion or a different item, please.
Okay,
14.6, the request of the use of the Alnwick Civic Center by the Housing and Homelessness Task Force.
thank you. You're bringing that to move.
Yes, please.
Moved by Councillor O'Neill. Can I get a seconder for that? Seconded by Councillor Booth. Councillor O'Neill,
So I did briefly mention that this was going to be coming and now it is coming. It will be Friday, February 28th. We looked at the Keeler Center and the Alnwick Civic Center. The Keeler Center wasn't available. The Housing and Homelessness Task Force, we have no money. We are just there as a communication tool, but this is going to be a fantastic piece of communication between us and builders, developers, banks, and realty to see where are the pressure points and what solutions can we have to speed up the building of affordable housing within Northumberland County. So it was actually a builder who first approached us with this idea, and we put this together with Claire Holloway Wadwane, had attended a similar event in one of the municipalities east of here. So I think this is going to be a great activity, and I think it will be wonderful if we could allow them to use our space for this event.
thank you. Councillor Booth,
Just a question, your worship, through you to Councillor O'Neill. Is the public allowed to come to this too, or is it just for the local builders and government officials and that? Like, would there be an invitation for anybody that wanted to make comments or?
Each council's going to be represented, but this is a targeted group that they are having to come who are directly involved with making things happen in it. I'm sure it's an open thing in the sense that you could observe what's going on, but to be a participant in the discussions, that is, we want people directly involved. And each of the municipalities will be represented by your representative within the task force, as well as having at least one staff member from each municipality. And in our case, we are very hopeful that our chief building official can be part of that day with us.
Okay, thank you.
any other questions or comments? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Stover.
Through you, Mayor Logal, to Councillor O'Neill. This is specifically on housing and not homelessness.
No, and if you read the notes from before that, a lot of what we looked at and focused on in the first year and a half of our existence was around homelessness, but we are really wanting to lean in much harder to the housing piece for the remainder of our mandate. And that ties directly because it is the lower tiers that are where it's going to be built, and we are the ones who are going to be approving and hopefully making it as easy and as effective as possible for builders to build.
Follow up,
Yeah,
Mayor?
just one, Mayor Logal, if I may, to Councillor O'Neill. You were hopeful that a staff member would join you that day. What is the process for that to happen? Do you have to have something happen today from council to address this? Or maybe I should target my question to Madam Clerk.
respond, Madam Clerk.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, can I get the question repeated, please?
Councillor O'Neill has indicated that she's hopeful that a member of staff would join that day in this discussion. I'm just wondering what's the process to do that? Does the request come from this horseshoe, or how does it come so this is put into place?
Dave, I think you're probably best to answer this question. For the question, for you have Dawn attend on the 28th of February to participate in the conference, I guess, maybe that's the wrong word. But you know what I'm talking about?
Through you, Mayor, to you, Mayor, and to council, if that is the wishes of this council, then I can provide that direction to Dawn.
Go ahead,
Through you, Mayor Local, I'm just wondering if it would be our building official or our planning official.
they've requested the planning.
Councillor O'Neill has mentioned the building official.
We just looked at the different municipalities and some we're requesting their planner and some we're requesting their planning official. We specifically did want a building official from a small municipality was one of the things because they have added challenges because they're working on their own rather than in a department. And so that was specifically why we were looking for that expertise within the discussion.
Are you requesting that through council?
I would have thought that was an operational thing. We are working the draft letter to go to the employees is just being finalized, but my sense is that, and I have already spoken to both the planner and to our chief building official so that they're aware of what is happening. So neither of them are being taken by surprise by this.
And so the letter, if I may, will go to the appropriate departments as well, CCing the managers. Thank you.
Probably should go to the manager and CC partners. But
Yeah.
that's a technical.
However, just so everybody knows what's going on. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and we're kind of off subject, are we not?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well,
sorry.
Yeah,
We have a motion on the floor then to allow that space to be used for the meeting.
at no charge.
Mhm.
Yes, let's get back.
Okay, so through you, Mr. Mayor, and I believe the request also included Councillor O'Neill, sorry, that the township provide insurance as well for the event, just in the interest of legalities and such. So I have it here that the motion to support the request to waive the rental fee and provide insurance for the Housing and Homelessness Task Force event.
Builders Summit, yeah.
Well, that was moved by Councillor O'Neill and seconded by Councillor Booth. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on to bylaws. Bylaw 2025, assuming the part of road allowance into municipal road allowance system for year-round maintenance. And the road is Bradley Hall Road. The bylaw, it is recommended that council of the corporation of the township of Elmwood Alderman act as follows. That bylaw number 2025 being a bylaw to assume part of a road allowance into the municipal road system for year-round maintenance be given a first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 14th day of January 2025. Do I get moving a seconder? Moved by Councillor Ainsworth, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stover. Discussions? All in favor? Motion is carried. Bylaw 032025, provide for the levy and payment of taxes. It is recommended the council of the corporation of the township of Elmwood Alderman act as follows. The bylaw 032025 being a bylaw to provide for the levy and payment of taxes be given a first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 14th day of January 2025. Mover and a second. Moved by Councilor O'Neill, seconded by Councilor Ainsworth. All in favor? Motion's carried. Bylaw 042025 to authorize the borrowing of money to meet current expenditures for the year 2025. It is recommended the council of the corporation of the township of Elmwood Alderman enact as follows. The bylaw 042025 being a bylaw to authorize the borrowing of money to meet current expenditures of the council of the corporation of the township of Elmwood Alderman for the year 2025 be given the first, second, and third reading and finally pass this 14th day of January 2025. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Booth and seconded by Councillor Ainsworth. Any discussions? Councillor Ainsworth.
Through you, Mayor. So I guess I just have to ask if like we have money in reserves. Can we not shuffle some money around instead of borrowing money? We have a development reserve, you know, with quite a bit of money in it, and it's just sitting there. Why can't we use that and then just pay it back instead of taking out a loan?
I'm not sure if we could touch the development stuff.
Well,
The reserves, certainly staff haven't got the authority to do that, so council would have to give that approval if we wanted to do that. But, Aaron has a comment?
Just allowing the motion to compensate being now in the first tax payment that is money you roll over again with agreement with the bank. So it's really hearsay because there's no did it. So by allowing 24 in with every year. As Mayor spoke to, we cannot speak to the development charges. We have to kind of get approval for that as well. This is just a blanketed borrowing.
And in my experience, I think it was maybe the first year we were on council, I think Deputy Mayor was on there too, there was a chance that we may have to actually do that, so, but I'm not aware of it ever happening. Well, it's just you know, whatever, the bank's closed up for a couple of weeks and maybe that's a bad example.
I guess it is.
Well, does that answer your question?
well, it kind of does, Mayor, but I mean, I still look at it as I'm running my own household and my checking account gets low. I just go to my savings account and then replace it. So I would look at it the same way if we could put something together here with council that we could kind of be self-sufficient.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Like I spoke to, if we went to reserves, then we have to come back. And depending on timing of cash flow, this is why we have like the law where if we needed approval, we would further our reserves, we would to call a special meeting to be able to close. So it's not that it can't happen, it is just this is an easier way and it's only a head. And as far as I'm aware, since I've been in the municipality, we cannot. Push it through our own bylaw through the bank so that we have the authorization.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Go ahead. Councilor.
Again, Mayor, so what would we pay for interest in that?
You have an answer for that?
Not with the,
Councilor O'Neill?
This is only an emergency thing. This is not part of our regular things that we anticipate. This would be something completely out of the ordinary. And as the people around the table have said, it's not something that happens.
So
Mayor, could we look at, and not that I'm not saying we don't need it, or I'm not trying to support that for this. I'm just saying we have money in reserves. Why should we be going to the bank?
I've heard them, but you want to respond again, Aaron?
this is not necessarily what I have to use it. We can, it's something that is a major priority. Break it down, we need a massive part. We can borrow it as reserve, but again, we have to remember.
Yeah.
It just, again, it's just an emergency.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Any further comments? All in favor? Motion is carried. The next one is bylaw 05-2025, and it is to set remuneration for fire department officers and firefighters. It is recommended the council of the Corporation of Township of Allen-McCalderman act as follows. That bylaw 05-2025 being a bylaw to set remuneration for the officers and firefighters for the fire rescue department of the Corporation of the Township of Allen-McCalderman be given a first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 14th day of January 2025. Can I get moving in a second? Moved by Councillor Booth, seconded by Councillor Ainsworth. Any discussion? Councillor Ainsworth.
I would have just liked, sorry, through you, Mayor. I would just like to maybe see like a before. I don't know what they make now. As far as a percentage rate goes, how much it went up.
It just went up by 1% for that.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Eric. You anticipated that question. All in favor? That's carried. Next, we have bylaw 062025 being a bylaw number to repeal bylaw number 124, 2024. And that's to set remuneration and expenses for members of council and council members on local boards, committees of council. It is recommended the council of the corporation of the township of Elmwood act as follows. That bylaw number 062025 being a bylaw to repeal bylaw 124-2024 and set remuneration and expenses for members of council and council members on local boards and or committees of council be given a first, second, and third reading and passed this 14th day of January 2025. Mover and seconder. Moved by Deputy Mayor Silver, seconded by Councillor O'Neill. Any discussion? Councillor O'Neill.
Just, it does include us attending conferences, and I'm wondering, is there going to be a time when we're discussing who is going to what conference this year?
Who prepared the bylaw? Aaron, can you comment on that?
Through your mayor on the backside, it does state. Sorry, I believe it states on the backside, the budget impact. But that amount has not been set, so it's made to clarify that it won't be set in the bylaw. That so much money has been put aside, but that's in the budget process. Who goes and to waive in that. So that's still not.
Okay. The first part of the question was if that's going to be approved. Is that correct? What was
No, mine was just, I know in our first year, we did have a discussion and we just let everyone know which conferences we were going to. And then last year, we just each did it. And I'm wondering, out of the 2 years, I actually thought the first year when we had the discussion about who was going to go where, was my preference of the two ways that we have approached it since we got here.
Okay. Go ahead. Yeah, please.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, in regards to the question about the process of how do we get council approval attending conferences, it does indicate in bylaw 06/2025, section 6, that council shall only be reimbursed for attendance at a meeting, special event, workshop, seminar, etc., not listed in clause 5 as above, which are committees and external boards, unless it has been previously approved by council by resolution for the specific council members, and that the elected officials of the municipality shall be provided remuneration for the approved meeting, event, workshop, seminar in the same manner as stipulated in clause 4. So that to me indicates that there needs to be a request for attendance. So we would handle that through the correspondence process, and then council would decide as to whether or not to allow or to send that member to that particular conference that they're requesting to.
Thank you.
Oh, so through you, Mayor Lobel.
I got
Oh, sorry. Yeah, maybe she's gonna,
And it
you're
might
gonna
be the
ask the
same
question.
We've got people going to Roma.
Good roads. How do we deal with that?
Sounds like we make a request to come to council for that attendance. Starting soon. Correct? Mike, you said you're going to.
Yeah.
You're going to, you want to go to both.
Yeah.
You realize you probably over your limit. Just so you're
Yeah.
aware of that. Yeah. But if you're planning on going to Roma, then
Yeah.
I would say, well, you should go. Well, I'll say the council, we're going to finish up and everything.
We're moving fast.
As for monetary value, that has not been set yet, because that's in the budget process. So, through the clerk on dating who goes and when, the chiefs go to get certain correspondence. But as you're in two delegates going, you might want to do that,
I think we should do that. Should, can we do that? When we finish this one, or? Okay, can we bring that up right after this? Okay. So we're at the, I read that. Okay. Okay, so it was moved by Deputy Mayor Silver and seconded by Councilor O'Neill. All in favor? Motion's carried. And does somebody want to make a motion that whoever's going to Rome, and I believe Mike is. Mike is. Anybody else going to Roma? I'm going, but I'm not billing anything to the landfill. Because the county will pay for that, because they book me and everything else. So I think what we should do is approve Council Ainsworth's attendance at Roma. Does anybody want to make that motion? Moved by Councilor Booth.
Well, I thought he made it.
Moved by
No,
Councilor Booth.
whatever.
Seconder. Second by Deputy Mayor Stover. And the motion is that Councilor Ainsworth attend Roma. All in favor? That motion's carried.
Could I just ask one more, a little caveat off to the side? So you are going through, if I may, Mayor Local, you're going through the county. If you were going through the township, you would bring that forward at the time. Is that how this would be handled?
We follow the procedure by, or the bylaw. I can't go in this, I can't get paid in this.
You
I
can't,
can't recover my costs in this.
or represent the township if we didn't support it.
Yes.
Thank you.
And Councilor Booth.
I'm just wondering, would it be possible to make this easier? Could we get a list maybe from staff or something of what's coming up? I know the AMO conference, for example, this morning at 10 o'clock, it opened up for hotels and they're already all booked because I tried online
You're already,
for AMO.
you're
So
already 2 blocks away.
yeah, if you want, you're 10-minute walk away already. So if it would,
Which is it?
AMO's in Ottawa again at
It
the
is?
Westin, yeah.
Okay.
And it opened this morning, and like I said, so if it's possible, then we could know what the dates are, and then council, I like what Councilor O'Neill said, that then we can get ahead of this to say, you know, whoever wants to go to Good Roads, AMO, I know there's Councilor O'Neill, you said there was
Awesome.
OSAM, and who else? There was another one.
Eastern
Mr. Mayor.
Ontario.
Yeah. If we somehow, even if it's just an email or something that could be sent to us to say, these are the available ones if you wanted to go to it.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Councilor Ainsworth.
Through you, Mayor. At this time too, I'm also want to go to Good Roads. And I guess if my remuneration was up, I'd pay for the difference myself.
Yes. Unless you're allowed up to $3,000. Isn't that what it is, or am I wrong?
last year's budget, that's for the this year's budget.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
And that includes the payment for the 3 days, or that's all part of it?
It's your conference, your travel, so any mileage for the year, like within food, reimbursement. Hotel.
There is a 3 days, up to 3 days of pay you can make. I believe.
It's all included.
That's part of it as well.
Mhm.
That's not included in the training and conference budget. That's included, meeting and special.
Okay. Go ahead, Councilor Leo.
It is included on what we've got ahead in front of us in 11F. Because I read that with interest too, because I've never submitted for my per diem rate before, but it does say I can here.
I think it was intended to be part. And I'm gonna say that for sure. I know, I will say this for sure, county doesn't get remuneration for those days. And I'm not sure about some of the other municipalities. Anyways. Okay. So you're applying to go to Good Roads then?
Yeah.
Now? Okay, so we need a mover and a seconder that go to. Do you know when it is? You need-
Yes, March,
March 30th to April 2nd.
yeah, March 30, April 2nd.
So we've got a request. Go ahead, Councilor Booth.
Sorry, through your worship, could we wait then until maybe the next meeting? Because if we find out if anybody else wants to go, we can do it all at once, or do you want to do it one at a time?
I'm just wondering about the hotel. So don't run into the same time, the same problem.
Go ahead, Councilor Ainsworth.
Through you, Mayor, I guess because of past practice, is I'm kind of already booked.
You're already booked.
Yeah, I wouldn't say you were going to be refused. Maybe it's just easier than just do
Yeah.
the one. And if anybody else wants to, I was just trying to say, let's do it all at once as a package, but that's fine.
Councilor O'Neill.
Respecting that we're doing what we did last year, but I agree. I would like to see it as a whole package and perhaps even
Yeah.
one step further, what staff would be attending as well. Because I certainly know that when we went to Good Roads a couple of years ago, there were many municipalities that came with a team from the municipality of both staff and council. And then when they were going and talking to some of the
Delegates being a delegate.
people.
Mhm.
Well, there were the government official ones as well, but just the suppliers. So they were going around and getting quotes on a new paver or those kinds of things and doing it jointly and getting that information
Mhm.
as a team.
We better get back to the initial one, and that is.
Let's see if it's some money.
So Mike has made a request of council that he go to the Good Roads Association function in 2025. And I get a mover in a second.
I'll move that.
Moved by Councilor Booth, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stover. All in favor? That motion's carried. So it looks like you're going.
Thank you.
That was tense for a few minutes.
And I make sure the hotel.
He's sleeping on the street. Fairmont. Right downtown.
Mayor,
Yes.
I just want to reiterate what Councilor Booth was saying. It would be great if there's some way we could get all these like a couple of months in advance. Because rooms are hard to get, even in a 10-minute walk.
From the county's perspective, they know a couple of days ahead, and the guy comes in at 5 o'clock in the morning and starts banging on the phone.
That's what you have to do, Counselor Booth. Get up early.
We'll get
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous how fast they fill
We'll
up.
get the list.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
Mayor Lovell.
yes.
Could that list also include recreation, since that is something that we are potentially, hopefully doing something about in the near future?
Okay.
Or, there we go.
Okay, next one is 15.6, bylaw 072025. to execute an agreement with Sierra Planning and Management for the needs assessment of the existing Haldeman Memorial Arena Complex. BL 07-2025, execute agreement with Sierra Planning Arena Needs Assessment 2025. It is recommended the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Allen Haldeman enact as follows. That bylaw 07-2025 being a bylaw to execute an agreement with Sierra Planning and Management for the completion of a needs assessment for the Haldeman Memorial Arena Complex be given a first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 14th day of January 2025. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Councilor Ainsworth, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stover. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Bylaw 08-2025 being a bylaw to execute a winter agreement with Glens of Antrim, BL 0825, winter storm maintenance agreement with Glens of Antrim Incorporated, Glens of Antrim subdivision. It is recommended the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Allen Haldeman that bylaw 08-2025 being a bylaw to execute an agreement with Glens of Antrim Incorporated for winter maintenance of roads within the subdivision lands, namely Glens of Antrim Way, be given a first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 14th day of January 2025. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Councilor Ainsworth, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stover. Discussion? All in favor? Motion's carried. The next one is bylaw 09-2025. Execute a winter maintenance agreement with Fox Lane Mistral Holdings Incorporated for bylaw 09-2025 winter road maintenance agreement with Fox Lane Mistral Holdings, which is the Grafton Heights subdivision. It is recommended the Council of the Township of the Corporation of the Township of Allen Haldeman act as follows. A bylaw 09-2025 being a bylaw to execute an agreement with Fox Lane Mistral Holdings Incorporated for winter maintenance of roads within the subdivision lands, namely Ridgeline Drive and Vista View Terrace, be given a first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 14th day of January 2025. Moving to seconder. Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover, second by Councilor Booth. All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, it looks like we're going to close next. I'm going to suggest that we take a 10-minute break. Which I can do by 5 minutes. So we'll go into close first, and then we'll probably do that then. So going to close, we have to have a mover and a seconder to move into a closed session. It is recommended the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Allen Haldeman act as follows. That the regular council meeting of January 14th, 2025 moved into a closed session under Municipal Act Section 239 2B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. And item E, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. And F, advice that is subject to solicitor client privileges, including communications necessary for that purpose. And that staff members, property matters, zoning bylaw and fill bylaw infractions update. Can I get a mover to second? Moved by Councilor Ainsworth, second by Councilor O'Neill. All in favor? Right, that's carried. And we'll take 10 minutes.